Good morning.
Morning. I'm getting going here. Let me let me try to open this. I've been having trouble with my PowerPoint, so let me try to let me do something here. Did I close Zoom?
Don't.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I was gonna say I see you.
Okay. Okay, there's everybody. Okay, let me try to okay, so right now, let me do this. There we go. There's okay. Nope.
Hi, baby.
Okay. Okay. If everybody, once you enter, can you type in the chat and just say here? That way I'm going to do attendance through the chat pane. So literally just go, there we go. All right, good job. Okay, I lost my mouse. Okay. Somebody said, oh, Nissa, I hope your snake is okay. I'm just seeing your message now. It was really cold. I'm warming him up. Okay. Nissa, if you have any questions, I would email Neemer about your snake. She would be your best bet. Oh, good. Okay. I figured you probably knew that. So, okay. Mackenzie has a question. Okay, I'm almost getting everybody in. Is the integument homework lab exercise 18? Yes, let me go back to my, hang on, I've got a notepad that has all my stuff.
Alan. Where's he at?
It should be in your email. I'm going to have to refer to that because I did not write down the homework exercises on my.
Come here, Alan.
Can anyone answer Mackenzie's? Thank you, Ireland. 14A and C and 18. Okay, thank you. I was like, I'll have to open my email.
Alan.
And remember, for you guys,
Come here.
for the lab exercises, if you want to just write the answers on a piece of paper rather than taking pictures of all the lab exercises, you can do that too. And then I will email out the lab exercise answers. And then I think tomorrow my plan is to discuss the study guide during Zoom. So that's how we'll answer the study guide. Okay. Because I usually don't have a key for the study guide. It's just kind of a guide. If you already emailed it with pictures, you're totally fine. That's however it's easier for you to send. I'm okay with that. Okay. So you're totally fine on that. Okay. So I'm going to mute everyone here in just a second. Oops. Okay, no. Okay. All right. So if you're just getting in here, please type in the chat. If you already typed that you're here, don't have to do it. If you haven't put that you're in the chat, there you go. So just, I need to make sure that's how I'm going to do my attendance. Okay. Because I can go through that later. Upload key for us to turn into T-trees. Okay. I will try to see what Zuber did with Teacheries. I'll talk to her about homework. Right now, I was just having you email me through Teacheries, but we'll go from there. Okay, I'm gonna start this. Do you guys have math at 11 today with Williams? 11, okay. Well, we'll try to get this done because we're getting here towards the end. Okay, so where I left off yesterday is we're still talking about specializations to the integument. And right now we're talking about the difference between a claw and a dew claw. The claw is actually a hard outer covering of the last part of your digit. If you look at your finger, okay, where you have a little fold, this is called P3, which is phalanx 3, and this is your distal digit. So this is proximal. This part of your finger is P1, P2, P3. So on a dog, when you see, and on a cat, when you see their claw or their nail, it is actually covering a bone, which is the distal part of their finger. Now, all the species, the digit is just there. Cats have retractable claws. And I will tell you, I honestly have been fooled because I pulled this cat out of a carrier and it looked like it was declawed. Like I didn't see claws. And then we start drawing blood and she kind of all of a sudden put her claws into my hand and I was like, oh, she has claws, she has claws, she has claws. So I typically ask an owner, do they have claws? Are they declawed? And that may seem like a duh question, but cats can pull them back. When they're very relaxed and very happy, most cats don't have their claws out. But then again, it's protective. So there is a band of tissue that can actually pull that claw. So if I ask you what species has retractable claws, which means they can pull them back, I'm talking about cats. Now, obviously, the claw is to help for traction. It can help to catch prey. The dew claw, if you have a dog at home or if you look at pictures, the dew claw is that it's kind of the equivalent of our thumb. If you think about a paw, okay, they've got their digits and then some have a dew claw up here. This is called digit 1. So if I have a dog like this, the two medial digits, if they have their dew claws, are up here. And that is called a dew claw. Now, it says on here basically, in dogs, it's the digit 1. It's the second and fifth digits in cows, pigs, and sheep. Now, you will talk about this in other classes later, but a dog, a lot of breeds will have these removed when they're about a week old. So a lot of times a breeder will come in and have the dew claws removed. That is still digit 1, okay? Even if it's been removed, if this has been taken off, then you've got digit 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, let me see if I can get my demo here. Come here, Bobby. Bobo, come here. Come here. Okay, he's very, loves being my demo. If you guys can see, that's Bo. Say hi, Bobo. Okay, right here on the inside of his leg, he has this is his dew claw. Okay, and then this is digit 2, 3, 4, 5. His back dew claws have been removed. He only has his front dew claws. Some breeders will take the front and the back off. This breeder only took off. No, you're not done. You guys say hi, everybody. Say hi, BB. Love you so much. Okay, good boy. He's getting sick of coming in here. So that digit up here sometimes is removed. It's typically a breed issue. So certain breeds will have them removed. Some dogs will have them intact. Now, the only way, and the reason we do them when they're about a week old, basically the bone has not fully developed there. When they come in, it may sound barbaric, but we literally just take a hemostat, which is like a little clamp, and you can actually just kind of smush it and it comes off. It's not even like you have to do a cut, and we put a little bit of glue and it heals. It literally can take less than an hour to do a whole litter. So it is now, sometimes when they get older, dogs, like when Bo, he was about 12 weeks old, he was digging at his crate, he did tear it. He got it caught and it got stuck in the crate. Now he didn't rip it off. I just had to do a bandage and put some ointment. So if they get it snagged in a fence or in a crate, sometimes we will remove them when they are adults. But normally once they have a dew claw, typically we'll leave it on. We don't usually remove them when they're adults. Now, if we're talking about a declaw, someone, if you just entered the chat, make sure you put that you're here for attendance, because my participants just went up by 1. So just letting you know, if you haven't typed attendance, if you've done it, don't worry about it. What I want to mention, when we declaw, which is D-E-C-L-A-W, declaw cat, you are literally taking this whole digit off. You are removing the claw and you are cutting in between the 3rd and 2nd digit. Okay, that's how a declaw is done. I meant, for Madison, I meant if you're on this chat, type in the chat pane that you're here. That's how I do attendance, not through Teacheries, on the chat pane in here. Okay. Now, a lot of places are now outlawing declawing, so it's not done as often as it used to be. But the thing is, when a declaw goes bad, is if you just cut the piece of claw that you see, if you just cut the nail with the hard covering, you're going to leave a part of this bone behind. You literally have to cut in between. It'd be like the equivalent of taking off the whole end of our finger. You're not just going to cut off the part that has the nail, okay? You're going to cut off all the way to this knuckle, and that is what we do in a declaw. Okay, so knowing what the dew claw is, knowing that the claw covers the digit, and when we do the bones, we will talk about those bones that are part of the paw and part of the digit. Okay. Oopsie. Now, if we're talking about the hoof, this is also known as the ungula. If you have a species that has a hoof, they are called ungulates. A horse is an ungulate. A cow is an ungulate. A sheep is going to be an ungulate. So if you see what I'm talking about, is that obviously we have a horse limb here. Hopefully you guys can see me pointing at this, but this right up here where that hair is, that's where the ergots are that I was talking about. This is the fetlock, okay? Now, if we look at the bones that are under here, right under this bone is P3, which is the equivalent of the end of our finger. Okay, so P3 would be in here, P2 would be up here. So what we're talking about is the hoof is a structure, and I don't know if you can appreciate in this picture, there is like a band here. It's almost like an indentation. Okay, this is where the hoof grows from. Okay, so there's a band of tissue, and that's how the hoof is going to grow. Each hoof covers a digit, which is going to be the third digit, P3. The hoof rests on something called the corium. And I'm going to talk about, there's an inner layer of modified dermis and an outer layer of epithelial tissue. So think about the hoof like a shoe, okay? If you are to separate in this picture and pull the shoe off, there is little interdigitations or little folds where that hoof connects to the bone, okay? Think about this. If you pulled back your fingernail, if you've accidentally ever done that and it's super painful, but if you ripped off your fingernail, you would have very sensitive tissue where that fingernail stuck to your finger, okay? So basically the nail, like our nail sticking to our finger, is like the hoof connecting to that bone. Obviously there's very soft tissue there, and when I say soft tissue, it's like the blood supply and the nerve supply. So the claw and the hoof rest on the underlying sensitive tissue. It has a lot of nerve supply, it's innervated, and it's very sensitive to pain. Like you said, I've said, if you ever bend your finger back and you touch there, if you've ever cut your fingernail too short, that's a very sensitive. Well, think about a horse that's going to be upwards of 1,200 pounds is standing on their fingernail. Now, obviously, the hoof is more than a fingernail, but the horse, that supports all of their weight. The parts that I want you to understand here is you need to know laminar corium, perioplic corium, and coronary corium. Now, most of these structures are here. If I go back to the hoof, these structures that I'm talking about are underneath here. Obviously, this outer hard part is the hoof. If I take that hard part off, I'm talking about the structures underneath and how is it supported and how does it grow. Okay, if I go forward, okay, so first of all, the perioplic corium is sometimes called the perioplic band, okay? The perioplic corium is where the hoof grows from. That's what actually grows the hoof, kind of like our nail, okay? It's going to grow. Coronary corium is right under the perioplic corium. Coronary is the blood supply. But think about coronary is your heart and your heart pumping blood, okay? So coronary corium is the blood supply to the hoof. And then the laminar corium is going to be the strips that are underneath the hoof. Let me see if I can pull up. Let's see if I can try and find a picture of this. Actually, hold on one second. Trying to do too many screens at once. Okay. Whoa. Okay, am I off my keyboard here? What the heck? Okay. Can you guys see me scrolling on this page? See if I can get this pulled up here for you. Okay. Can you see? Sorry, hang on, I'm trying to. Can you see those pictures? Or you can see it now? Okay. Okay. What we're looking at here, if you cut the hoof in half, all right, what you're looking at is this bone that looks like a triangle is actually the third digit. That's kind of like right here. If you look, there's a hoof wall, and there, see how that bone is very connected to that hoof. Horses get a condition called laminitis, and it's typically related to feed and a nutrition issue. But literally, the hoof wall is here, the bone is here. That laminar corium has to attach to the hoof wall. If the lamina gets inflamed with laminitis, what can happen is that bone starts to separate from the hoof, and it can actually puncture through the bottom of their hoof in severe, severe cases. So if you can see, if you can see what we're looking at is see how this bone is not even with that hoof. It's starting to see there's a gap, okay? Let me see. Okay, we can see right here that this hoof wall and then this distal, DP is distal phalanx, there is a separation. Now it has not punctured through the hoof, but it has separated from the wall. These little strips are the lamina. They're showing gaps. Let me see if I can find a better picture. Okay. I don't know if you guys, can you see this picture I'm pointing to? Okay. If you look, a piece of this hoof has come off. See how it looks like lines? So the lamina actually form lines, and those lines, almost like if you have like a vacuum filter and it has all these like strips, those lines fit into the hoof and they interdigitate or they stick together. So what happens is in laminitis, the laminar corium is swollen or inflamed and it starts to separate, okay? And if you look at a horse with laminitis, they have this very unique stance. The horse is trying not to stand on their hoofs. So you could see this horse is leaning back because it's like, ow, 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 ow. They don't want to stand. And so they have this unique stance. You can see in all these pictures how these horses are standing. And this might be a better picture here is basically, here's the hoof, okay? And this is what the inside looks like. It looks like these little folds. The hoof on the inside has them and the surface, and they stick together. Okay. So hopefully I will try to send some links later if I can. Basically, okay. So I will try to send some links but you can also look it up, laminitis images. But I want you to know laminar corium is the supportive structure where the hoof wall attaches. The coronary corium is the blood supply for the hoof, and the perioplic corium is the band where the wall grows from. Okay. Now, I'm not going to you don't have to know this yet because we're going to do this when we do the bones. Nissa. Oh yes, Savannah first. It says if you clip your nail too far. Yeah, if you get too far and you get to that red underneath your nail, that would be very similar. Nissa, I'm having trouble. I tried to upload a bunch last night and they were too big, and when I was trying to convert them, they wouldn't convert. So I'm trying to get them uploaded, but I'm having trouble. Kind of had a little mental breakdown around 10 o'clock last night. So yeah, I'm gonna keep trying. Jonathan, can this affect all hoofed animals or horses? It can affect all hoofed animals. They have a similar structure, but it is primarily seen in horses. Just the way their hoof is designed. So laminitis is a primary, in severe cases where you cannot get it fixed, they could be euthanized, which sounds severe, but a horse really is not designed to be laying down. They don't like to lay down. And so trying to get weight off of a horse's hoof so it can heal is very difficult. So that is the challenge with getting ahead of laminitis and treating it, especially if that bone penetrates the hoof. That's obviously worst case scenario. But what you're looking at in this picture, you can see here is P3, distal phalanx. Here is the hoof. Here is where the perioplic band would be. So the wall is growing right from this band, and then it's supporting underneath that bone. That bone should always be parallel, okay, with the hoof. And if we look at it picture, so the lamina is the hoof and the corium have those interdigitations, are all those folds where they stick together. That's what interdigitations mean. It's like this is going to fit with this like a puzzle. And so the hoof wall and the lamina corium should fit together like a puzzle. And as long as the lamina is healthy, they will stick together just fine. If the lamina degrades inflammatory, then that's when it starts to separate from the wall. And then by weight, that bone is going to start to gravitate. Okay. If I look at the next picture, so this metacarpal 3 is our bone right here. So in a horse, the most distal part, you've got the carpus, you've got metacarpal 3, and then you're going to have P1, P2, P3. P1, P2, P3. We will do the bones of the hoof and the bones of the horse leg next, or when we do the bones. So you don't have to know the bones. I do want you to know that this bone is P3. Okay. So that is P3. That's where we find these sensitive structures. Now, the hoof itself is a unique, and I'm mostly stressing the equine hoof. I'm not getting into like a sheep hoof or a cow hoof. I really want to just stress the equine hoof. There are 3. No, it is proximal. Proximal sesamoid is just this little bone here. Okay. There is a distal sesamoid and a proximal sesamoid. Proximal is because this one is closer to the body, and distal sesamoid is because this one is farther away. Does that make sense, Jonathan? So the picture is correct. A sesamoid is a circular bone. So these two circular bones are almost like floating circular bones, but proximal sesamoid is also closer. The P1 is under the sesamoid. I thought P1, the P1 is under the sesamoid. Oh, right. Well, P1, right. This is P1. That part should be over here. So that, if that's what you're talking about, then yes, this proximal phalanx is P1, middle phalanx is P2, the distal phalanx is P3. So we don't call a sesamoid with a number. We just call them a proximal sesamoid or a distal sesamoid. So sorry, does that answer your question? Okay. All right. Now, the three primary parts of the hoof that you need to know is the wall, the sole, and the frog. Okay? If we look at this picture, the wall is this darker gray section. Okay? So the wall is this whole thing, but they will separate the wall into three different parts. The toe is the very front. So if we look at their hoof, the part that's pointing forward is the toe. Then the quarters are going to be on the lateral sides. So there's two quarters. And then the heel is the back part of the hoof. Okay. So this part back here is the heel portion of the hoof, and then this is the heel portion of the hoof. The sole, okay, is going to be the whole palmar or plantar surface. This is the part that would technically touch the ground. Okay, so this part of the hoof touches the ground, the sole touches the ground. If you look, between the wall and the sole, do you see there is a white line? That is the sensitive tissue from between the wall where it connects to the lamina. Now, in this picture, you can see those lines. If you lift up a horse hoof, you would just see a wall. Let me do this. This can be easier. If you lift up a horse hoof, you're just going to see the wall and you're going to see the sole. They're just showing this to you so you know where it is in relationship to the hoof. When you lift up a horse's hoof, let me put a note about something. I'm writing down some things to send you because if I can find a picture, when you lift up a horse's hoof, they've obviously been walking in mud, manure, hay. It's going to look completely flat. Okay, you lift up the bottom part. You have to pick out because there's two grooves here, and the grooves are a depression. Okay, so when a horse's hoof is completely clean, there's like divots here and here. So it actually is what I would say concave. Okay, when a horse has been out all day in mud, manure, whatever, they're going to pack that in and their hoof is going to look flat. You would pick out a hoof and you would see right here, let me go back a second. Okay, this little V thing is the frog. So in the middle of the hoof is something called the frog. So you have the frog, the sole, the white line, and the hoof wall. Now, if you have a horse that has shoes, horseshoes, what they do is they will put a metal, let me do it this way. They will put a metal horseshoe and they will nail it into the wall. Okay? So this is deadened tissue. So it's not sensitive. You're not going to be putting nails and a shoe into this section. This is the sensitive part. Okay. The other thing they have back here is they have heel bulbs. Okay, these are a little bit spongy, so they gave a little bit of shock absorbing and protection. So what you look at on the back is you have heel bulbs, you have the heel, and then you have the wall, the white line, the sole. So the structures to know, I'll type them here, is so I just typed the parts of the hoof that you need to know. Basically the wall and the sections. I want you to know where the toe is, the quarter, the heel, where the heel bulbs are. The heel bulbs are not part of the heel wall. So the bulbs are a separate structure. They're a little bit spongier, like it's dense connective tissue, but they are kind of a shock absorber. And then the frog is that V. The sole is here, and then the white line is here. Okay. Someone's sending me. Okay. Sorry. Someone was trying to get a hold of me. Okay. Are there any questions on what you need to know? As far as the parts. Okay, all I want you to know about the horns, as far as actually the white line and the sole are not. Well, so the white line is going to technically connect to the sole, but I want you to know them as two separate structures. If you look at this picture, you have the white line. It's showing you the lamina, and then it's showing you the sole. But like I said, on a live horse, you wouldn't see that lamina. You would literally see the wall, the white line, and the sole on a live hoof. So the white, I want you to know the white line and the sole as separate structures, if that makes sense. Okay. Let's see how we're doing on time. Okay. The one thing I'll mention about horns, that it is built up of a very horny or a cornified keratin. So it's very dense keratin. A horn is going to grow continuously. If we look, we've got the corneal process in the frontal bone. If we're looking at like a bull, and they have horns. So remember the pole, here's the ears, here's the pole. They have things that are called horn buds. So in the skull, there are buds where the horns are going to grow from. They actually are open to the frontal sinus. This bone right here is the frontal sinus. So the frontal sinus and the horn bulbs are very close together. Now, if you're at all familiar with large animal, which some are and some are not, sometimes these species, when they're very young, are dehorned. They will actually go in with, like, it almost looks like a curling iron, but it's a cauterizing, and they will burn out the horn buds so they never grow the horn. Okay. If they are allowed to grow their horn, it'll grow from, we've got this sinus. Here's the frontal sinus, so that's an open cavity. We've got a layer of dermis and epidermis, and then we've got the corium and stratum corneum. So basically what's going to happen is these cells are going to build and build and have layers of keratin and grow these horns. We look at, so it's very similar to hair, it's just a lot more dense, obviously. What we're looking of this is growing. This outer part that you see is stratum corneum, which is like the upper layer of our skin. It's just much more hardened and fortified with keratin. The difference here is horns are not sex specific. So it can be a male cow, it can be a female cow. They arise from the epidermis, so they arise from the most upper layer. They will grow continuously. So if you do not trim their horns, they will continue. You've seen those Texas Longhorns where they've got the big horns that go like all the way out. Those are in what are called polled breeds. If it's a polled breed, they have horns. They are hollow. If they were to cut off that horn, there would be an opening to the frontal sinus, which is the cranial portion of their skull. So they do communicate to the skull. Now, if you have an antler, like in a deer, these are usually on males. So antlers are typically how we identify a male deer. They arise from the different layer. They arise from the dermis, not the upper layer. But they will shed them annually, where a horn is going to stay intact. It actually is a bony protuberance from their skull. So they do not have a core. They do not have a blood supply like a horn does. But if you've ever, by the time you would find antlers in the woods or something, they look like bone. But if you were to feel antlers on a live animal, they actually have like a velvety skin. They're almost kind of fuzzy on the outside. So they have a little bit different structure than a typical horn. Okay. Okay. Let me do something here. I'm gonna unmute everybody for a second. I think you can mute yourself if you want to. So if you have a screaming child in the background, you may want to mute yourself. I get it. It's all good. So my plan tomorrow, okay, let me just reiterate. I'm trying to convert these videos. I've recorded every lecture we've done so far. Just last night, it did not go as smooth as I had hoped. I've created a YouTube channel, and my goal was to then upload the videos. I can do YouTube Live, so I'm trying to decide. Oh, can I go back to the antlers? Yes, I can. Okay. Well, that's a cool thing, Sean, that you said about they collect the antlers and make them an arch. It's pretty cool. So I'm hoping to have more progress today on converting these videos. If you have missed anything because of technology, you might want to check with your friends, or you can also email me questions if you've missed anything. So I'm going to try to send a video. I have a note about anal glands. I'm going to try to send a hoof cleaning video so you can see the structures of the hoof. It's just going to take me, I want to go through some sources and find you some good videos, and maybe something talking about laminitis. But my goal tomorrow is to go, well, you'll submit your homework by 10 o'clock. So just submit any homework due tomorrow by 10. I will go through the study guide online through Zoom. Okay. And I will go through Zoom lecture, like I would go through the study guide in class. And then we will have our test on Friday. Mackenzie, you have a question about my boxer. Please ask away. Ask away. Ask away. Is he totally awesome? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. If that's your question. If that's your question. There's a delay. There's a delay. So interesting fact. I'll just tell you really quick is normally I would rescue. I tried to find a rescue boxer. I do not have a fence. A lot of rescues and shelters will not adopt out to people without a fence. Actually, okay, let me mute everyone here real quick while I'm talking. Just briefly. But I did find him just through a lady. I looked through, they're called the Hoobly Classifieds. I think it was HOOBLY Classifieds. She had an ad, and I just looked up boxers, and I called her, and she sent me videos. She was in Evansville, so she was a breeder. I've gotten most of my dogs through shelters and dogs that were abandoned at clinics I've worked at, but we really wanted a boxer. My husband wanted one, and he's pretty cool. So I've been very happy with him. So I know some people are anti-breeder. I love rescue. I want to rescue someday. I just know a lot of rescues have very strict guidelines, and the fact that I don't have a fence kind of just, not the fact that I'm awesome and I would take good care of my dog is not enough. Okay, so enough about me. I know you guys got to get ready for math. We will just plan on meeting tomorrow to go. Oh, thank you. I think he's a pretty cool boy. I don't know if he'll come back in here because he's a little frustrated. I keep making him go on video. We'll plan on meeting tomorrow at the same time. We will go through the study guide. I will try to send you these videos, and I hope to have progress on converting my videos. Bobo. Bo. He's hiding. Bo. He's mad at me. Bobo, come here. Oh, see, he won't. Bo, come here. Bo, come here. Baby, some cookie. Mama, I'm gonna give you a cookie when we're done. You come say hi to everybody.
So handsome.
Doesn't want to come up here. Say bye to everybody. We say bye. Oh. Say bye. I made him do a neuro exam this morning for my Clin Med class, so he's already upset with me that I keep doing stuff to him.
Did he have to do the wheelbarrow walk?
I did the hopping test, and then I did menace.
Mm-hmm.
I did hopping. I was kind of showing how you lift and turn the head. Hear you. It obviously works fine. And then we did kisses and cuddles. But he's had cookies and treats, so I'm trying to treat him very well. I'm trying to treat you good. Say hi to everybody. You stinker. Maybe it's such a stinker. Okay. He's like, please stop embarrassing me. Exactly. He is so over this right now. He's like, he's like, where's that sound coming from? That's them. They're talking to you. He's trying to look out the door, like, where is it? Bobo, who's he? Who's here? Oh, He's like, who's here? Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, I'll let you
Done.
guys go. I'll work on getting you those links to some of the videos and neat articles. Do you have any other questions? Yay, your snake is alive. Woohoo! I think snakes are pretty cool. I'm not a fan of rats, mice, or I got bit by the gerbil in Exotics Kennel.
Oh.
Don't like rodents.
I'm not a rodent fan. I can be
I
in the room.
literally cried
We
for
had a
like 20 minutes.
tarantula. We owned a tarantula.
Disgusting. Disgusting. My ex had a rose hair, and she was an awful, awful pet.
Ours was a
She hair at
Mexican.
us every time.
Ours was a Mexican red knee.
Oh God.
But I've heard the rose
are the
hairs.
worst.
The rose hairs I heard are a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, she's a little sassy.
Yeah, this one, ours, she was very friendly. It was my husband's idea. Yeah, her name was Sally because my daughter is obsessed with Nightmare Before Christmas. So everything was named Sally for a while. Sally the spider. Yeah. Yeah, and spiders. I don't want another one. Someone has a question about the test from Friday. If you guys are good, I'll answer that a few more questions. You can jump off if you want, but sorry, I'm trying to actually stop recording. Who had a question? Oh, Jenna, what was your question?
Just I saw like on Teacheries, I have to go back and look again, but on Teacheries, like it showed up as a 0%, but then when I went, because I wanted to make sure I handed it in because I missed that in like one of my other classes, but I had an actual grade, so it wasn't a 0%.
Are you talking about the test or the homework? Because I had, the day the homework was done, I had you as absent, but I didn't know if you emailed it to me.
It said Teacheries test.
It says your test is a 0%?
Yeah. Yeah, let me go look again though, because I was so confused. Well, let me check it out again though. Hold up.
Test, 0%. It might be your drop grade. Yeah, let me.
Okay, wait, no, never mind. Never mind, that was the homework. My bad.
Okay. I have a note for me to check back in my email. I didn't know if you had emailed it.
Okay.
But
I will check that out then. Yeah, my bad. I read that wrong. I thought it was the quiz, and I was like, oh no. But yeah, okay. I'll check that out then. See if I did that.
Yeah.
That is my confusion.
Right now, I'm not doing, Morgan asked a question, I'm not doing attendance through Teacheries. What I'm doing, I will log, whoever logs into the chat through Zoom, that's how I'm doing attendance. If I don't do a Zoom day, then I will send something through Teacheries that you have to do. But right now, so far, all my attendance has been through Zoom. As long as you log into the lecture, I mark you here, and then you get attendance for the day. And Savannah, our next test is Friday. So in 2 days will be the test over this material. So tomorrow our Zoom will be review of this material, go through the integument and review the study guide. And then I will send you guys the answer key to your lab homework. Does that answer that question? Okay, so right now I am done with you guys. I know you got 5 minutes to get, I think, into math. So I'm not going to close this just yet because I got to do attendance. So okay. Okay. My dog is the same way. Yes. All right. If you don't have anything else, then I'll just see you same time tomorrow. I'll go through here and log everyone that attended. And I just have a good day. Okay. I will see you guys tomorrow. Okay. All right, now I just have to go through and mark everybody in the corner. Search. Savannah. Harlow. Sharp. King. Sean. Gonzalez. Simonella. Teresa. Jonathan. Kellogg. Jenny Robinson. Susan Benchworth. Gurley.